family member, you think, oh, right on, they broke up, it's great, okay, she's free, and then, 4 hours later, oh, I love him so much, and it's just really frustrating. So what you have to do is really be there for that person. Their head's in a messed up place. They're really confused. They're also really unhappy despite what they tell you. I mean, one of my sort of indicators, if you're in an abusive relationship or an unhealthy relationship, is if you're crying a lot. If you're crying all the time and you're on your phone with your partner and you're crying and begging and pleading and apologizing for stuff you've never done, that's an abusive relationship.
Right.
Love and fear don't go together. Love and crying and sobbing don't go together. Or if you're, and these are things that you could point out to your family member or your friend, like you're afraid of your partner. Maybe not afraid that, you're going to be smacked, but you're afraid of his temper. You're afraid to make him angry. You're afraid to have a different opinion. You're afraid to say, where you were, or you're afraid to say that you talked to somebody, or you're afraid to say what you did. I mean, you start telling little white lies all the time because you're afraid of your partner. And, love and fear they can't coexist.
I like that. Yeah, love and fear.
Yeah. So, my message to people that I'm talking to, and, I invite anybody who's listening to, rip off whatever I say and, say it's your own original idea, is that love is a behavior. Love is the way somebody treats you all the time. It's not just a feeling, because your feelings can be anything, right? I mean, we can make our feelings be whatever we want to, in the land of denial. So, but when you look at a person's behavior, the way they treat you day in and day out, especially when they're pissed off, especially when they're disappointed, especially when things don't go their way, especially when they don't land that promotion, especially, whatever it is, the way they treat you is what you have to go on, not just sometimes, because people will tell me, you don't understand, my relationship is great 60% of the time, he's perfect, he's a prince. And like my question is, as a therapist and as somebody who cares, is what makes you feel like you don't deserve that other 40%,
Yeah. And I got to say, it really, love is a behavior, not just a feeling, is something that really, I think that is so that's such a great way of putting it.
It makes it really simple and easy, right, to remember that love is a behavior. It's the way somebody treats you. And so the idea is that in an unhealthy relationship, like your partner can say, I love you, I love you, I love you, but you get to decide what your definition of love is, not your partner. So their idea of love may be, isolating you from your friends. Their idea of love may be, like your caller telling you that you need to exercise more and you're not good the way you are, and that you're a little saggy and all that. Oh, I just care about you, that kind of stuff. But if it doesn't feel like love to you, then it's not.
Certainly, Cosmo readers and listeners can relate. We'll take a few calls for Dr. Jill Murray. Check out her website, drjillmurray.com. I think it's a very spread the link around. I think it's very valuable. Let's go out to Pittsburgh and talk to Justina. Justina, hi.
Hi, just hashtag, I love your show, first of all.
Thank you, sweetheart. Do you have a question for Dr. Jill Murray?
I do. I was in an abusive relationship about 8 years ago. I was in high school, and I did not recognize it as abusive then, but basically he put me down all the time. I'm a pretty girl, I'm a smart girl, but I had these wicked self-esteem issues, and they've stuck with me. I'm married now, and I am seeing the insecurities and basically residual effects of the abusive relationship in my own marriage, and I feel like I am actually really critical of my husband, and almost like I am taking it out on him, even though he has never done anything to me. So I'm wondering, are there any steps that I can take to start to better myself so that I don't hurt my husband?
Justina, that is a great call. I'm going to hang up and let Dr. Jill answer. I think that's really interesting.
That is interesting, and, I think it's awesome of you, Justina, to recognize what you're doing instead of just going, well, I had to say that to him or I had to treat him that way because he did this to me, He's a whole different guy, he's not your abusive boyfriend from high school, and I think a lot of times when we're in an abusive relationship, it's like she said, it just stays with you, and then it comes out some other way. You think, okay, I'm out of that relationship and I'm good now, but then it starts sneaking up on you because it's insecurity. Abusers are, they have really controlling behavior, Patrick, but what they really are is dependent, insecure people. And so I think for Justina to recognize when I'm being, cruel, when I'm being mean to my husband, that's my insecurity talking, okay? If love is a behavior and I'm looking directly in my husband's eyes and I love him, I need to stop myself. I need to stop myself now, because when you're in a healthy relationship, Patrick, you don't need to win, okay? Like, everybody has conflict, and maybe she's doing this.
Hey, Dr. Jill, can
Yeah.
I ask you a question? We never do this, but can I keep you for a couple, because the computer's going to take over. It's going to go to commercial, but do you mind hanging out for like 10 more minutes?
I can be a kept woman with you, Patrick.
Okay. Ooh, I like your attitude. I want to finish up that answer. That's a great question. Dr. Jill Murray, in just 2 minutes, which is just a 2-minute break. I'm thrilled that she's going to stick around, and we're going to get to the bottom of this.
Cocktails with Patrick, only on Cosmo Radio, Sirius 111 and XM 162. If you've got boys on the brain, and really, what Cosmo girl doesn't, then you've come to the right place.
All right, let's get back to it. No need to listen to the long, drawn-out intro. Intro, new word. Dr. Jill would be impressed. Intro. Welcome to the show. It's Cocktails, Cosmo Radio, Sirius 111 and XM 162. This is really an honor, and her website's amazing. It's drjillmurray.com. You can, of course, find the link through our Twitter. The tweet machine's always open, twitter.com/coxwithp. But essentially, Dr. Jill Murray, psychotherapist. You've seen her on Oprah, 2020, Montel, Dr. Phil. Ooh, I wonder if she was on, like, Maury when they were giving out the results of the paternity test. That'd be sweet. But also one of the leading experts on healthy versus unhealthy relationships in the U.S., and I don't know if we've ever, how often in all the years, Leah, do we keep people for like 3 segments? But this is so important.
Yeah.
Because her message is something you've seen friends go through. In a way, we've all been in these relationships as we're growing and becoming who we are and finding ourselves. I think that may be part of it. So without further ado, I keep on giving you really long, drawn-out intros, but I feel like you deserve them, Dr. Jill.
And I like your new language, and I like your intro.
Intro. Yeah, it's French.
May we.
Yes, you too. Now, okay, so I think essentially what we were discussing, it was a great question, was overcoming the residual effects from and not carrying them into future relationships. And I don't know if it's an element of projection then at that point, but the way to, I guess, the first place to start, you tell me if I'm wrong, is identifying it. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I think that Justina has done a really good job of identifying it. But then after that, you got to do something about it. I care a whole lot about how people feel, but I care a whole lot more about how people act. We can feel whatever we want, but unless we put it into action, then who really cares, right? So,
yeah.
Right? So, I wanted to say that when you are in a relationship with somebody, whether you've been in an abusive relationship before or you've seen abuse or whatever it is, we all have conflict in our relationship. If you and your partner are exactly the same, then one of you would probably be unnecessary in the relationship. It wouldn't be any fun. And so we have conflict in relationships. But the idea, I think I was saying, is that you don't need to win when you're in a healthy relationship, when you're having conflict. The idea is that you want your relationship to win. And so what most of us do, though, when we fight with our partner or we disagree, is that not only do we need to win, but we need to win at any cost. We need to win by annihilating the other person's character or the way they look, or we have to bring up something from 5 years ago to make our point, when really, if you can build the other person up because you love them, and love is a behavior, then you don't need to do all that nonsense.
I'm going to repeat this, and it's love is a behavior, not just a feeling. So it's so crazy how you say that, because I've had many girls say, "Oh, but I have such strong feelings for him, and I love him," but these are reactionary and they're not just long-lasting behaviors. That it's not a pattern of love. It's just a feeling of love, and there's a big difference there.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when you see someone's behavior day in and day out, that's why you can fall in lust, at first sight, but you really can't fall in love at first sight. And you need to see somebody's pattern of behavior over a period of time in a lot of different situations. I don't think, you fall in love. I think you sort of step up to love, really. And that's the way that you do it, by seeing these behaviors. I mean, lust is great. Lust is fun. Lust is awesome. But if you're talking about love and you're talking about a relationship and a long-lasting relationship and what you want for your life, and not, just like one-night hookups all the time, if you're looking at something that you want to go to the distance, then you got to look at the person's behavior.
I got it. It's drjillmurray.com, and we're joined by Dr. Jill Murray. I just as an aside, I have to ask you, I'm listening to you speak, and I'm blown away by the intelligence. I've been told that you've listened to this show on and off. What are you doing with your life? Now, you must, when you listen to this show, and you go and you hear my moods, and you hear the crazy stuff that's said, and you hear Leah with her glasses over there, what are you doing, and what is such a smart person like you wasting your time listening to this show for? I must ask you that, Dr. Jill.
Patrick, my dear, it shows my intelligence.
Oh, you know what? You're right.
That's pretty true.
Don't put yourself down there.
No, but I'm guessing, here's what I'm asking. I'm guessing when you listen at times and you hear the mood swings and stuff, I'm guessing you would like to you would like to have me on a couch and really analyze what the hell is going on here. Because the reason I say that is because you said something that struck me, and I'll call myself out here. In relationships in the past, I've found the pattern that you just mentioned, and that is, when I feel like I've been done wrong by someone, there is a need to remind them that of their transgressions. What I learned, hopefully I've learned it by 32, is that we were never able, in many relationships, we were never able to move forward because the perceived slight or real slight that I felt, I would bring up, and hence it impeded us from moving forward. And you know what, as I think about it, that could be a form of abuse too, by not allowing somebody to actually receive forgiveness.
Well, I don't know that I'd call it abuse.
I mean, maybe not abuse, but I'm saying, but it's a pattern that when you said something, it struck me, hey, I've done that many times, where you just continue to, tell the person, hey, but why'd you hurt me?
Right, instead of just dumping her ass.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
You just dump.
Right. So, if a woman's doing something to you over and over and over, and you keep on saying, this is hurting me, or this is annoying me, and she keeps on doing it, but she's telling you that she loves you, you can remind her, yeah, but that's not what I consider loving behavior. Yeah? So love as a behavior is the all-purpose, all-everything kind of deal to keep in your brain. So instead of, if you tell somebody over and over again, like I keep hearing this one, Patrick, you don't understand. He's great. He only cheats on me when he drinks. He can't help it, right?
Right.
You hear this all the time. I hear this on your show.
Absolutely.
Right? He's great, but when he drinks, he cheats on me. So it's really not his fault. Well, then my deal is, does somebody, throw him on his back, straddle him, and, pour a six-pack down his gullet? If you've told him that he cheats on you when he drinks and he still continues to drink, then his drinking is not loving behavior.
That is...
Love as a behavior thing works everywhere.
Yeah, I like that.
I have a question.
Sure.
A lot of people might even know that they're in a relationship that's not so great and unhealthy, frankly, but they are afraid to leave it. And I mean, I'm certainly one to express my feelings towards being single and how it sucks. So how do you help people to see that you're not in a good relationship, and being single is obviously a better